Have you ever spent hours, hours, designing what you think is the perfect poster for your Toastmasters club, only to watch it get completely ignored? You pin it up on a crowded board, and boof, it just disappears into all the other noise. Well, what if I told you there's actually a science to getting noticed? Let's dive into how a little bit of brain science can help you create posters that really, truly work.
That's it. 3 seconds. Seriously, according to research from places like the Nielsen-Norman Group, that's pretty much all the time you've got to grab someone's attention before their eyes just move on. You don't get a do-over. So the big question is, how do we make those 3 seconds count? It all comes down to 4 brain-friendly rules.
All right, rule number 1. This is all about you becoming the director of your audience's attention. A great poster doesn't just throw information out there. It actively directs the viewer's eyes. It tells them exactly where to look first, then second, then third. And this isn't guesswork. It's about tapping into how our brains are literally hardwired to see the world.
Just look at the difference here. It's night and day, right? On the left, you've got visual chaos. Your brain just doesn't know where to start, so a lot of the time it just gives up. Sound familiar? But on the right, you have clarity. And the secret weapon here is negative space, all that so-called white space. Eye-tracking studies show us it's not wasted space at all. It's an active tool that makes your most important message pop, forcing the eye right where you want it to go.
So, how do we actually do this? Here's a super practical checklist. First, make your most critical info.
The hook, or main benefit.
Stand out with high contrast. Think bold text, bright color. Second, we all tend to scan things in an F or a Z pattern, so put your most important stuff along that natural path. Third, size matters. Your main message should be the biggest thing on the page, period. And finally, please resist the urge to cram in 10 photos from your last meeting. One single, powerful image is so much more effective.
Okay, rule number 2, and it flows right from the first one. Once you've got their attention, you have to make the message incredibly easy to process. There's a great saying in neuromarketing that you should burn into your brain. A confused mind always says no. If someone has to work to figure out your poster, they're just going to walk away.
The science behind this is a really cool concept called cognitive fluency. Here's the secret. Our brains are, well, kind of lazy. And I mean that in the most efficient way possible. They prefer things that are easy to think about. In fact, research shows that when information is presented cleanly with simple fonts, our brains actually perceive it as more truthful and reliable. So simplicity literally builds trust.
And you don't have to look any further than Apple for a perfect example of this. Their ads are absolute masters of cognitive fluency. Tons of white space, simple words, clean photos. And what's the result? Their incredibly complex technology feels simple, elegant, and totally approachable before you've even touched it. That's the power of designing for ease. So for your club's poster, here's your simplicity checklist. First, have one goal, just one. Is it to get guests for next Tuesday's meeting? Then everything on that poster should serve that single goal. Stick to 2 fonts maximum. And this is a big one for us Toastmasters. Ditch the jargon. A potential guest has no idea what pathways or a DTM is. And finally, be ruthless. If a line, a box, or a logo doesn't help with your one goal, get rid of it. Okay, you've guided their gaze, you've made the message simple. Now it's time for the magic ingredient, emotion. Our brains are wired to remember things that make us feel something. A poster that just lists facts is totally forgettable, but a poster that sparks an emotion, that creates a real connection.
But let's be real for a second. Does something as simple as putting a smiling face on your poster really make a difference? It feels a little bit like an old advertising cliche, doesn't it? Well, the neuroscience says, absolutely, yes. And what's so cool here is that the data backs this up, big time. Study after study finds that ads with smiling faces just plain perform better. But why? It's something called emotional contagion. We are hardwired to unconsciously mirror the emotions we see in others. So when we see a genuine smile, our brain's mirror neurons fire up, and we actually start to feel more positive ourselves.
This brings us to our final, and maybe the most critical rule of all. A beautiful, simple, emotional poster is still a total failure if the viewer walks away and does nothing. You have to close the loop by telling people exactly what you want them to do next, and that, my friends, is your call to action, or CTA.
Just look at the difference here. Visit our club is so passive. But scan to reserve your free guest spot? That's active, it's specific, and it implies there's real value. For more info, just sounds like you're giving them homework.
to ease their minds. Tell them exactly what they need to do, what kind of effort is implied, and don't forget to state the benefit they stand to get by taking the next step.
And you can make these calls to action even more powerful by tapping into a few little brain hacks. You've got loss aversion. That's our deep-seated fear of missing out, or FOMO. Only 5 guest spots left. Triggers that perfectly. Then there's social proof, our tendency to follow the crowd. Join 20-plus members, makes the choice feel safe and popular. And finally, our brains are suckers for anything new, so highlighting novelty can be a really powerful magnet.
So there you have it. 4 simple, science-backed rules to transform your club's posters from basically invisible to completely irresistible. Let's just lock them in with one final super quick recap.
Number 1, guide the gaze. Tell them where to look. Number 2, keep it simple. Don't make them think too hard. Number 3, spark an emotion. Make them feel something. And number 4, drive to action. Tell them exactly what to do next. You follow these 4 steps, and I promise you, you'll create posters that don't just inform people, they actually persuade them.